Hi everyone, welcome on board. Welcome to CATKing. This is Anisha here in conversation with Lavanya from Masters Union. Quick introduction. बहुत बहुत अमेजिंग बड़े लोग आए हैं आज ऑन द चैनल. वी हैव लावण्या हु इज़ एन MBA from ISB, who's been a consultant with Bain, McKinsey, and currently is the head of admissions at Masters Union for the flagship PGP TBM program. So thank you so much, Lavanya, for coming on board with us today.
Hi Anisha, very happy to be here. Always great chatting with you and very happy to be interacting with the CATKing audience as well.
Lovely. So we are going to have a very nice, interesting discussion today. All of these students always keep asking, ki, what are the various scholarships that I can get? How do I save some money? I'm sure, you when you were also preparing for your MBA days, you had that concerns. That's something which all students also look out for. So could you give us a little idea about what are the different types of scholarships? Because from what I have seen on the website, there are 8 different scholarships. So what would you suggest, for a little highlight about all of these 8 scholarships?
Yes, sure. Happy to take that up. So I'll just give a quick background about, what the scholarships are all about. Now, of course, we at Masters Union, we believe in a lot of diversity and we believe that financial constraints should never stop a student, a very good
Yes.
student to enter, because we love students to come from different backgrounds, meritorious students who can actually excel at Masters Union while also helping their peers as well, right? Because
Yes.
peer-to-peer learning again is very important. So we have different types of scholarships that we give out at Masters Union. Last year, we gave out about 6 to 8 crores of scholarships in total to our
Amazing.
students. And these are, of course, basis the different types. You already mentioned that we have 8 types of scholarships. So maybe I can take you through those scholarships, I think, if that would be helpful for your students.
Absolutely. Let's do quickly one thing. So if I look at these all the scholarships, I can see these are all my 8 different scholarships, right? Which is
Yeah.
like the Manoj Kohli scholarship, Rajni Thethi. If you could just give us a brief idea, like what is the difference in all of these scholarships in terms of, the overall scholarship amount maybe, or the selection criteria, what differentiates them? And if I was a student applying in, how could I get to the maximum scholarship?
Got it. Cool. So I think I'll just quickly explain what the different types are and then answer the subsequent questions.
Perfect.
So as I mentioned, we have scholarships across different categories because we understand that each and every individual is also different, right? Some people really show academic excellence while some people are maybe, let's say, doing very well in social impact or like a great influencers or, have like a different spike. So
Yeah.
we kind of build the scholarships also in the same way to
Okay.
give different types of people equal chance.
Yeah.
So starting with the merit-based scholarship that we have, the Manoj Kohli Merit Scholarship. Now this is basically we extend this to candidates who are exceptional in terms of their academic achievements.
Okay.
And in terms of academic achievements, what I also mean is if you have any kind of professional degree, as we've already discussed this before, we have like CA students, CFAs,
Yeah.
people with great advanced degrees. I think these are of high value to Masters Union as well. So
Okay.
any kind of academic excellence, let's say you're a gold medalist, your rank 1 in your college, things like these are very important for us to see. So to your question, in case somebody really wants to get this merit-based scholarship, and to add on to this, I think the maximum amount of scholarship also that is given out is for this scholarship as well, right? So it's very important for students to showcase their best self, right?
Yeah.
How have they ranked with respect to others? Kitna GPA tha? For example, like at ISB, like GPA mattered a lot, even in terms of our recruitment. So I think this
Yes.
is something that we really want to see for eligibility for this scholarship.
Lovely.
Now, of course, the second one is the scholarship for women. We have Rajni Thethi scholarship for women. Now we are actively trying to increase the disparity between male to female ratio. We currently have a 70-30. I think that's the same with all B schools. But we actively want to promote and encourage female leaders who are doing very well academically again
Yeah.
to be able to be a part of Masters Union, right? So here again, similar to the merit-based scholarship that I was speaking about initially, but this one is specifically to female with respect to females, deserving candidates who have impressive record in either academics or if they've done very well in a leadership position in their professional life is something
Okay.
that we see here.
Okay. Interesting.
right?
Nice.
The third one that we have here is a diversity scholarship. Now, of course, this is again to ensure that students who not like, we don't just want students who come from an already privileged background, right? Who have had the resources to study for CAT, study for GMAT, study in the best colleges, right? We also want to see students who are very, very bright, but maybe did not have that kind of a experience because of
Okay.
some kind of hindrances, right? So, students from areas such as the Northeast, Ladakh, Bhutan, as it's mentioned on the
Yeah.
website as these are the kind of students that we'd like to incorporate into the cohort as well.
Lovely. Interesting.
Yes. The fourth one is this is scholarship for technology leaders. Of course, this is again special to Masters Union because, as you know, we are a tech forward business
Yeah.
school, and we do believe that tech is really needed in every business to make it scale, right? So we really like to see students who already come with the tech understanding because this helps. The course helps the students in accelerating their path, but we also see a lot of tech leaders or tech driven students helping the peers in a very, very application point of view as well. So here again, we have scholarships given out to tech leaders who maybe have had a startup in the past, or built something in tech, any kind of innovation that they did. So these things would be important to add value even in the application form, right? So this is again one of
Interesting.
the scholarships that we have. Now, the other one that we have is an India Bound Scholarship. Now, this is basically for Indian origin candidates who basically are not in India currently,
Okay.
who maybe are based abroad, but who wish to return to India to pursue their higher studies. So there is a certain amount of scholarship that we give to them, just as an encouragement to actually come to India and actually, build, a corporate journey in India itself.
Lovely. Great.
The next one is a scholarship for young leaders. Now, interestingly, this is again the highest percentage of students actually
Okay.
get this because, as you know, we are a college which has a lot of young leaders. 60% of a cohort actually lies in the 2 to 5 years work experience bucket. And we
Yeah.
really want to give students this opportunity to showcase their best self in this specific manner. So now this is
Perfect.
basically for young leaders who have, excelled in leadership positions, and it could be anything, right? It could be any social impact, any kind of professional projects that they undertook. If you're a fresher, because of course young leaders also includes freshers.
Yeah.
So we'd like to see how you as a student either led something in college, outside of college, any kind of clubs that you led, any kind of initiative that you took. This is something that you should really incorporate if you think you're eligible for this scholarship.
Perfect.
Uh, Now, the second last one is the scholarship for entrepreneurs. Now, of course, as you know, we have a lot of founders, ex-founders who are a part of our cohort, and these could be anyone, right? Somebody who started a startup, but lots of people have actually sold their startups and come to Masters Union.
Yeah.
Lots of students who they started their own startup, but it failed, right? But
Hmm.
of course, all of that is a good learning for the current cohort as well. So we have given a specific scholarship to entrepreneurs, and this is something that we believe really helps students learn from, because these entrepreneurs actually come from a business owner mindset themselves,
Yeah.
right? They understand how things work, and in fact, because we have the venture initiation program, we have the dropshipping challenge. So when students take part in these challenges along with these team members, it really helps them, scale up their business. So again, that's exactly why we have a scholarship for entrepreneurs, because we'd love to see them in the cohort as well. And
Lovely.
the last one that we have is actually a new scholarship that we've introduced this time. This is in the memory of Mr. Manoj Kohli, who was our chairman, his late mother, and she had a vision for, really working towards the upliftment of underprivileged females. And this is something that we are doing, and we're trying to follow in her footsteps, going forward. And this is basically for females who, of course, don't have the financial abilities to maybe go for a business school, or take that kind of a money, like
Yeah.
loan or whatever, right? So I think this is something that
Absolutely.
we them to not feel bad about. And here again, of course, we want to look at academic excellence or any kind of deep commitment to uplifting the society in any way. So any kind of social impact, that you've created, any
Yeah.
kind of upliftment that you've maybe done for females itself, any kind of entrepreneurial journey that women have done specifically, right? So I think this is something that we want to see here.
Lovely. That's so interesting. I think Lavanya, you've walked us through all the scholarships in a very nice way. Now I have very tough questions for you. Like you mentioned, majority of the scholarships are either in the young leaders or in the Manoj Kohli scholarship, and we have a very aggressive application process round. The first round is now 15th December, second round is 2nd of Feb. So, what do you think should the students do so that they can avail these scholarships? How can they probably showcase themselves best in the application? If you could walk us through that or give some highlight factors for it.
Sure. So just to give a background, so we have our scholarship process slightly different from last year. So last year, students had the opportunity to select a particular scholarship if they believe that they were eligible for it.
Yeah.
But this time we've made the process more simple for them. I think because last year we had a lot of students जिनका spike हम किसी और ही area में देख रहे थे, but they selected some wrong scholarship, right?
Yes.
So right now we have a more stringent evaluation process from our side,
Okay.
where we automatically make students eligible for a scholarship if we believe that they're eligible for it, right? So
Perfect.
less work for the students, more work for us, but it helps us also evaluate students in the right way, right? Because otherwise you tend to look at the wrong things sometimes.
Yeah.
So here again, I think how students can stand out is firstly, just go through the scholarships, right? They are in detail mentioned exactly the kind of things that they want to focus on. And जैसे मैंने आपको examples भी बताए थे, if you want a
Correct.
merit-based scholarship, you need to mention how you have stood ahead of everyone else in your batch, right?
Yes.
In any form. So if you have held a rank, of course, quantity or quantifiable numbers will really matter. So putting out those numbers, right? कि highest percentile थी, ये सब था, gold medal, ये सब, these things will be important. And of course, we have our application process where we are able to see those answers from you. So of course, build a stellar resume. I think a resume should talk about each and everything about you, whether it is extracurriculars, whether it's work, work life, whether it's any kind of additional achievements that you've held. Just make sure that if you feel that you're eligible for a particular scholarship because you've had that experience, try to focus more on that, because at Masters Union, you are generally, for every student, you're trying to see some kind of a spike, because
Yeah.
that makes you stand out with respect to others. कि किसी ने चलो ठीक है बहुत academically अच्छा किया है. Some people we don't judge them on academics at all, because we know that किसी के 100K followers है. So why are you judging them on acads, right? They
Right.
should be judged on something that they are very good in. So again, if they feel that they this would be interesting for like an entrepreneurial internship scholarship if you want, right? So somebody who's done very well in their YouTube channel or something else, right, in a creative field, of course that would they would automatically be eligible for an entrepreneur wala scholarship. So I think here these are like very very it's a very easy process that we've also made for students, because they just have to know themselves, they just have to know their strengths and portray themselves in the application form in different ways, of course. And interview ke time pe bhi, of course, it's very important to showcase that, because we are doing a very holistic evaluation. So in case interviewer is also asking you questions, try to direct your answers in a way that you are able to showcase your strengths in that space as well.
Lovely. That's really brilliant. And I love the way where you mentioned that, each student has a different spike. That means we are evaluating everybody individualistically on their profiles and not like a filter out all the 9 pointers. And, that's a very nice approach towards, the whole process. And I totally can understand when you say it's more work for you and the entire admissions team. But like we have mentioned that we have multiple rounds, right? Is there something like a student who has probably applied in the round 1 has more probability for scholarships based on the probably stats from last year? If you could tell us, what would you advise the students to keep in mind while applying?
Right. So I don't have specific numbers, but the general trend, I have some stats from last year, and what we've seen is that round one candidates generally tend to get higher number of scholarships,
Okay.
and this is also a function of the number of seats that you have, right? I mean,
Yeah.
in the first round, you anyway have like the entire, for example, we had 233 students this year,
Yes.
and of course, if somebody is applying in round one, you're competing for one seat for with respect to all 30, you have like
230. Correct.
233 options,
Yeah.
but round two, of course, that opportunity goes down, and round three may in fact we only look for very very exceptional candidates who will just fill in the gaps if at all,
Absolutely. Okay.
right? In the first round itself, if we find a very diverse set of candidates, we will obviously give out as many scholarships as we wish to give, because at that point we're just starting with creating a cohort. If
Lovely.
like a Lavanya is in round one accepted already, a similar profile will not be accepted very easily, and even if that person will be accepted, maybe the scholarship amount will be lesser, because we already have a Lavanya ka profile in round one, right? So
Got
generally
it.
the trend that we see is that round one, round two may you have higher number of scholarships, and it goes down as the round goes down.
So then personally we would recommend that if you think you have a good profile and a stellar profile which you would be eligible for scholarships, you should consider applying in round 1 and not wait for the further rounds to give yourself that opportunity to avail the maximum scholarships. Lovely, that's
Exactly.
pretty interesting. One last thing which I would want to understand from you is, Lavanya, like the entire selection process, even that has gone through a lot of change this year. So what do you think are like the key different factors, or what makes Masters Union selection process different from the all the other IIMs and SPJain? What do you suggest?
Sure. So I think when I like, because of your question, I'd just like to start with this thing that at Masters Union, what defines or differentiates you the most from other application processes is the fact that for us marks are not the like heart and soul of a profile, right?
Yeah.
So marks don't define you. Of course, it's a very very important criteria to understand somebody's capabilities. But for example, at Masters Union, we have students who've, and I think that's the same case. I was talking to Mehek, and she's from Stanford, and she
Yeah.
said that in my cohort we had like students from a 530 GMAT score also to a 760, right? And I think that's the kind of thought that we have tried to have here as well, where we feel that here we want students to shift orbits, right? So I think
Yes.
this is only this is like only possible when we evaluate students on the basis of what their spike area is, right? So I think that's how we've also tried to build our application process. We don't really value marks of the highest priority, of course.
Yeah.
It's very very important, and most of our students actually are very academically bright, but that's something that we take a call on once we have the entire application in front of us. So just to quickly take you through the application as well, we first have our application form. The application form has very basic details that we want to understand about you, which is something that you've already done in the past. It's not anything new that we want you to work around. So the first thing is, of course, your work experience. And of course, if you're a fresher, just adding on to that through freelancing or any kind of internships that you've done. The second thing is ACADS, any kind of, professional degrees that you've held in your, career. Of course, here CAT, GMAT, GRE are not mandatory, but if you've taken it, and we understand that students are applying to multiple colleges, so they generally tend to have these scores also.
Yeah.
So if they feel that they have a good score, they can also send it to us, but the process will still remain the same for everyone.
Okay.
And the third thing, of course, that we are looking for is any kind of extracurricular achievements that you've done. We have a lot of musicians, sports people, and all in our cohort, so that is also something that you can fill in the application. Now once
Lovely.
the application is done, you will have access to a video based response that you need to
Okay.
submit. Now iska deadline is different. Iska deadline is 7 days after the application deadline, which is 22nd of December.
Okay.
So you will still have time, because we understand that lots of people will be filling their application in the deadline, so we have that
Yeah.
extension of 7 days. And this is basically a prompt that is given to you on the spot.
Okay.
You will be asked a question, what would you choose between X and Y, or any question it could be, and you have to give a reasoning for why you chose something.
Okay.
Right? So this is just going to be a video based response. You have 2 minutes to prepare, and then you can speak on it for 3 minutes, right?
Okay.
You will get demo links, you will get 2 attempts to record this. It's something
Lovely.
that you cannot pause in the middle. You have to go at it like in one go.
Lovely.
Now, once these two steps are done, after that, we have a first shortlist.
Okay.
Now, the shortlisted students will be coming to different venues. It's an offline process this time. They will be coming in and giving their personal interviews in the venue that they've selected.
Okay.
And in addition to a personal interview, what we also have this time, which is different, of course, we are a tech forward business school, and we want to give that opportunity to students also to play around with technology. So
Yeah.
we have an AI assessment for them. So
Okay.
now this is again not a elimination round. Everyone who's shortlisted will go through an AI assessment and a personal
personal
interview.
interview.
The only
Lovely.
difference between the two is you're talking to a real person in an interview, you're talking to an AI in an AI assessment. Now you can interact with the AI. It's mostly going to be like a text-based AI interview. AI can ask you any kind of questions. It could be quant, it could be logical reasoning, it could be behavioral, right? Similar
Okay.
to a personal interview. And then, of course, we give out the final decision once these steps are done.
Okay, lovely. That's really interesting. I think you've given us a quick walkthrough, in-depth understanding of everything. So students who've been listening, please make sure you go through the video while you are filling it, especially understand the various examples that Lavanya mentioned about, how can you showcase your leadership skills, or how can you highlight your academic excellence, because all of these factors or anecdotes will actually help you to make your application form stronger, because that's your first impression, right? You're going to come for your interview at the third level, so make sure that your first impression is like the best,